Hello, my name is Daniel. Welcome to my channel, Live to Read. Today we're doing a book review of Star Wars Dark Disciple with some spoilers. This book was published in 2015. Page count is a little over 370 pages, and it's by Christie Golden. And what's really cool about this book is this is part of 8 unproduced scripts for the Clone Wars series, which was canceled beforehand. And then some of the authors of those scripts that are pretty much turned into this book include Dave Filoni and George Lucas's daughter, Katie Lucas, who has a foreword in this book as well, which is really cool to read. So, there's plenty of Clone Wars content now, tons of books. A lot of those stuff focuses on, Anakin and Obi-Wan. But this one deals with Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos, who are two characters I really enjoyed and really love. And I wish I could definitely see more, especially of Quinlan Vos. So he does have a little bit of a name drop in the Kenobi series. And then, they have the Tales series on Disney Plus, Tales of the Jedi, Empire, and Underworld. And if you have seen Underworld, you know what goes on with Ventress. But if you're unsure, the events of what has happened to Ventress occurs in this book. So it's a real, you've already been spoiled, but if you want to see what leads up to what happens into Tales of Underworld, you want to read this book. It's excellent. And then, so this pretty much deals with this is going on during the Clone Wars, and Count Dooku has ordered an attack to kill refugees. And then this gets back to the Jedi Council, and they end up doing assigning a task sort of off the books to assassinate Count Dooku. And what they do is they enlist the help of the Jedi Quinlan Vos, who's considered a sort of unorthodox, amoral type of Jedi. And then they want him, off the books to kill Dooku. And then they feel like the best way, best resources to go to is to recruit Asajj Ventress, who pretty much has insider knowledge to Dooku's operations and his habits, his routines, and so forth. And they feel like she would be a big help assisting Quinlan Vos in killing Dooku, which he ends up doing with the help of, believe it or not, a young Boba Fett. Which is really cool in this book is that, you have all the major characters show up throughout this book. You have Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Mace Windu, tons of bounty hunters, Bossk, Embo, Boba Fett, and so forth. So it's really cool. You get to see everyone take part in this story. And then, so what's end up happening is that Quinlan Vos does track down Asajj Ventress and pretty much tells her what the assignment is. And of course, she's on board. But she tells Vos that the only way they're going to defeat Dooku is he needs to be trained in the ways of the dark side. And the one kicker here is that while they're going through their trainings, they end up developing a romantic relationship, which is very different because a lot of Jedis obviously cannot fall in love. That's part of the code. And then while spending this time together, they openly share information and get to know one another. And Quinlan Vos shares that his master was killed, but unknowing to him, Asajj Ventress was the one that had killed his master, Quinlan Vos's master. Which that information gets end up used against him by Count Dooku in a way that he gets captured by Dooku and tortures him and eventually turns him to the dark side. So, and then this ends up becoming a rescue mission. And Quinlan Vos, and Asajj, they end up caring deeply for each other, and you see that relationship take effect and the end results of what happens through this book. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it's sort of a roller coaster ride between the two characters of going into the light and the dark side. It's really fascinating. There's a lot going on here, and it has definitely a sad but amazing ending. But if you, like I said, if you watch Tales of the Underworld, you'll know what has happened, especially with Asajj and Quinlan's arc. So this is a fantastic book. If you love anything and all things Clone Wars, like I said, this has been out for a while, but there's nothing else like it, especially with these two characters. Everyone else sort of gets their own stuff. So I would highly recommend Star Wars Dark Disciple. And if you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe. And thank you so much for taking the time to stop by.